Hello, Power BI community. This is the October edition of the Power BI Monthly Update. I am Jason Himmelstein, Principal PM Manager for Content Strategy in Microsoft Fabric and Power BI. Last month, we had FabCon Europe. Next month, we have Microsoft Ignite. So this month, we have a little bit of a lighter edition of the Power BI Monthly Update. Not that it's not still action-packed, but we just want you to know you should go ahead and take a look at last month's update, as well as be on the lookout for next month's update, because we have lots of new announcements coming around Microsoft Ignite. For more information on the topics in this video, check out the Updates blog. The link is in the video description below. Let's go ahead and get into it. Power BI Copilot and AI. Enhanced Power BI report creation with Copilot is now in public preview. Improvements have been made to the Create Page capability in Power BI with Copilot. These updates are designed to make your experience clearer and more transparent. We have increased clarity and contextual awareness. To help you build more valuable reports, Copilot can now engage with users to gather more details before creating a page. You can now create a page outline with increased transparency. After creating a page with Copilot, you can now see an outline in the Copilot chat pane. This allows you to review the content and ensure that the page meets your requirements. Quick Measure Suggestions with Copilot feature is no longer available in public preview. To continue to use natural language to write DAX formulas for measures, Microsoft Fabric Copilot and DAX Query View can help you write DAX queries, which can include query-scoped measures that can be added to your model. Quick Measures will continue to let you choose calculations from a list and create measures using drag-and-drop templates, generating DAX formulas upon clicking Add. Power BI Reporting. Visual Calculations Update. Preview. Combo charts are now supported. You can now use visual calculations in combo charts, such as the line and clustered column chart, just like you could in the other chart types. Field parameters are also now supported. This month, we have enabled the use of visual calculations with field parameters. This means that you can add visual calculations to a visual that contains a field parameter and vice versa. Azure Map Updates. Data-bound reference layers. This month, the Azure Maps visual brings a powerful enhancement to its functionality with data-bound reference layers. In previous releases, the Azure Maps reference layer was limited to static shapes without the ability to conditionally format or bind geometries to customers' business data. Additionally, the static nature of the reference layers limited user interaction, preventing actions such as selecting, filtering, clicking, or accessing tooltips for polygons and points, unlike other visual components. Power BI and Teams announcing the retirement of the Teams Activity Analytic Report. Teams Activity Analytics Report is an out-of-the-box report users can create in their own workspace, which tracks their team's usage data. The option to create this report is from the Power BI application in Teams, Outlook, and M365. We will be retiring this feature starting from December 31st, 2024. That means starting January 1st, 2025, users will not be able to create that report, and reports that were already created will not be updated. Let's go ahead and take a look at some demos.
October is here, so it's time for more updates to visual calculations. And this month, we're adding support for combo charts such as the line and stacked column chart and the line and clustered column chart. Let's see this in action. Here, I have a column chart that shows the sales amount by fiscal quarter. It also contains a visual calculation that calculates the moving average over 3 quarters. And this is currently in the tooltips. Since this month we're adding support for combo chart for visual calculations, I can now switch this visual type to one of the combo charts and move the visual calculations to the line y-axis. As we're making progress on enabling visual calculations for all visual types, please let us know which visual you want us to prioritize. Next, I want to quickly show you it's easier to create visual calculations based on a template. The ribbon button now has a bottom portion that you can use to quickly create a templated visual calculation by simply selecting the template. For example, I'll quickly add a calculation based on the versus previous template. Fill in the blanks, and you're done. Finally, this month we're adding field parameter support for visual calculations. You can now add a visual calculation to a visual that uses field parameters and vice versa. For example, here I have defined a field parameter called product attributes. The visual uses that field parameter and shows the percent of grand total visual calculation. Now, if I select a different product attribute such as class, the visual will of course update and the visual calculation will update as well to show the percent of grand total for each class. This is the first step for support for field parameters with visual calculations, and we're looking forward for you to try it out and provide feedback on this specific feature as well as any other aspect of visual calculations.
We have an exciting update for the Azure Map visual this month. Up until now, reference layers added to the map were static and not tied to the data in your model. Now you'll be able to map the components of your reference layer to your data, making them an interactive part of your report. To set this up, you first add the field you want to associate with your reference layer to the visual. For example, we've added the distribution center column, which has values for center 1 through 7. Then you add your file that contains the reference layer to the visual. In my GeoJSON file, I've labeled each of my polygons with all of their coordinates for the shape with a name property that has the exact same value as the values of my model's column. You can see I've done the same for the points as well. You can also do something similar with shape and KML files in addition to GeoJSON files. So back to our example. Here we have a sample company in Wyoming with 7 distribution centers, represented by the points on the map. And the areas that each center serve are represented by the polygons. With everything set up correctly, you can see that the shapes are now interactive. Tooltips show up on the visual, and I can cross-highlight too. You can also use conditional formatting for the shapes now that they're data-bound. If I go to the fill color for the polygons and open up the conditional formatting dialog, I can color the shapes based off of the weekly shipment numbers, setting the color range from yellow to purple. As another example, I can also color it based off of the field value of my color column. And if I remove the conditional formatting, I can also base a color on a legend field. So for example, I can add my distribution center field to the legend as well, and that will give each of my shapes a unique color. Now during all of this formatting, you may have noticed that there's one shape on the map that hasn't been updated as I've been formatting the others. This shape is unmapped to any field in my data. There's only 7 distribution centers in my data, but if I switch back to my GeoJSON file, you see that there's an 8th center here, which is that unmapped polygon on the map. You're able to format these unmapped objects as well. You can choose to format them with custom colors, and you can also choose to hide unmapped objects. And something interesting here is that since cross-highlighting temporarily filters out the data on the map, when you do this, that means that non-selective values are also hidden as you cross-highlight. I'll give one last example of the interactivity of the reference layer. They're also reactive to filters. So if, for example, you right-click and exclude a region, they'll become unmapped and follow whatever formatting or visibility setting you've applied.
Power BI modeling. Dynamic format strings for measures are now generally available, giving you ultimate flexibility in how measures are displayed in visuals. These format strings can be conditionally applied using data analytics expression, DAX, based upon the measure value, the filters applied, and/or to add additional information such as units. DAX Query View introduced new DAX functions to get metadata about your semantic model with the info DAX functions. And now, 4 of these functions are also available in info.view DAX functions, which convert IDs to friendly names, and can be used in calculated tables of the semantic model in addition to being able to run them in DAX Query View. Filter value behavior in preview. DAX has an automatic filtering mechanism that occurs when multiple columns from the same table are filtered. This behavior is informally called auto-exist. DAX understands that not all combinations of values across these columns are valid, and as a result, it automatically excludes invalid combinations. The DAX engine generated a coalesced value filter that not only returns valid combinations, but also affects measured calculations. This month, we're giving you more control over whether you want this behavior in your semantic models. You can decide whether you want to turn off coalesced value filters and turn on independent value filters instead. Turning on independent value filters by setting the value filter behavior setting to independent and multiple filters on the same table being kept separate instead of the DAX engine combining these into one. Let's go ahead and take a look at a demo.
DAX has an automatic filtering mechanism that occurs when multiple columns from the same table are filtered. While this has benefits, in specific situations it can lead to unexpected results. This mechanism is informally called auto-exist, and in this month's update we are launching a preview that enables you to decide whether you want this mechanism to be used or not in your semantic model by changing the value filter behavior setting. To find this setting, open your semantic model in the service or in Power BI Desktop, and in Power BI Desktop then go to the model view. There, open the properties pane for your semantic model. Here you will find a setting called value filter behavior. 3 options are available. The first one is automatic, which is the default setting. This setting currently is equal to the third setting, coalesced, which enables the filtering mechanism, so any new model will still have the same filtering mechanism as before. In the future, we plan to switch the setting to the second option, independent, which disables the filtering mechanism, so at that time, any new model would have the filtering mechanism turned off by default. When we make this switch, we will announce it in our blogs and documentation. For clarity, I will set it to coalesced for now, even though automatic does the same. To see the difference in these settings, let's take a look at a simple example with 2 measures. The first one, number of products, simply counts the number of products by counting the number of rows in the catalog table. The second one calculates the number of products for all years in the catalog table. Now for the report. On the left, I have the same catalog table printed and 2 measures, number of products and number of products for all years, and 2 slices, one for year and one for color. Notice how we are filtering to year equals 2023 and color equals blue or red. So we should be counting all the blue or red products in 2023 for the first measure, which indeed is 4. And the second measure should be returning all the blue and red products for all years, which should be equal to 6. Now if I switch to 2024, we would expect the first measure to change, since it's counting the number of products for the selected year, but the second measure result should stay the same. Notice how the number of products for all years measured result has just changed to 5. Why is that? It's because there are no red products in 2024. So with the filtering mechanism on, DAX combines the filters into one, keeping only the combinations that exist. Since there are no red products in 2024, it effectively sets the filter to year equals 2024 and color equals blue instead of blue and red. Therefore, the number of products for all years is the number of blue products, which is 5. Now let's switch the setting to independent. Let's go back for the report and see it update. Notice how the 5 changes to 6, since now the filters are not combined by DAX but kept separately. So the filters are year equals 2024 and colors is blue or red, which indeed is 6 products for all years. The value filter behavior setting gives you more control over the way DAX evaluates multiple filters on the same table, enabling you to avoid unexpected results in situations like the example here.
Power BI Mobile. As of March 1st, 2025, the Power BI mobile app will no longer be able to connect to Report Server using the OAuth protocol through ADFS configured on Windows Server 2016. Today, the Power BI mobile app uses two-factor authentication libraries. MSAL, when connecting to the Power BI service and non-ADFS-based report server scenarios, and ADAL, when connecting to ADFS using the OAuth protocol. Since the ADAL library has reached end of life, it is time for us to migrate all authentication scenarios to use MSAL. Given that MSAL requires ADFS 2019 or newer, the Power BI mobile app will no longer be able to connect to ADFS 2016 once this migration is complete. Power BI visualizations. We have many great visualizations and new visuals in AppSource this month. Power BI new visuals in AppSource. Sales Velocity Compass by Office Solution. Visualizations. Date Picker by PowerViz. Cycle Pilot by Nova Silva. Drill Down Network Pro by Zoom Charts. Decomposition Tree by All Expanding. Editable for reference, master data management with approval workflow, audit, and governance. AdWise Advanced Column V1. Power BI Spotlight. Well, that's it for the updates. Each month, we highlight a community member that's making a positive impact in our community. Meet Banu Gautam. He's been a part of the Power BI community since 2023 and is a super user and MVP. He's received over 271 kudos, authored over 236 solutions, and has over 751 replies. As a data analyst, Banu spends their weekdays diving deep into data, but on the weekends switches gears and becomes a cricket enthusiast. Whether it's analyzing data or hitting sixes, he loves finding patterns and making an impact. Thank you for being part of our community, Banu. Well, that's all for this month. As I'd mentioned, not quite as much as a usual month, but given that we just had FabCon Europe announcements and we're going to have Microsoft Ignite announcements next month, kind of come to expect that that might happen. You can go back and take a look at the YouTube video for last month, which had 9 different demos in it for Power BI, as well as the Microsoft Fabric video, which had 19 different videos in it. You can find links to those in the comment section below. Now, please visit our Power BI community forums at aka.ms/PBI community. It's the best place for you to connect with others to get your questions answered. And please, tell us how we can do better. We are listening. Like, comment, subscribe, and thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.